Welcome to my channel. Today, I'll share an unsettling tale that's deeply personal and terrifying. It revolves around a peculiar timepiece I discovered, one that defies the natural order. This is a story of how a seemingly ordinary clock began to unravel the very fabric of reality. As the hours reversed, the world around me transformed into a nightmarish landscape. Brace yourself for a journey into the unknown, where time itself becomes a malevolent force. I've always been fascinated by old, intricate clocks. Their ticking is a constant reminder of time's passage. So, when I stumbled upon an antique shop and found an unusual clock with its hands moving counterclockwise, I was intrigued. The shopkeeper seemed oddly eager for me to take it, but I shrugged it off as mere eccentricity. From the moment I set it on my mantle, strange things began to happen. At first, it was subtle a minute hand that seemed to move too quickly, or the hours that didn't quite match up with my own watch. Then, the real changes started. As the clock ticked backward, I noticed my surroundings starting to shift in unsettling ways. Objects in my home seemed to age or rejuvenate unpredictably. A withered plant in the corner of my living room began to blossom anew, only to wilt again moments later. It was as if the clock was bending time itself, not just for me, but for everything around me. Soon, the distortions grew more disturbing. I began to experience flashes of past events, as if they were happening in real time. Conversations I had months ago replayed before my eyes with vivid clarity. But there was something off. The people in these memories seemed aware of my presence, their eyes following me with an unnerving intensity. Sleep became elusive as I was haunted by nightmarish visions. The world outside my window shifted between days and nights in rapid succession. Streets I had walked countless times became foreign and twisted. Familiar landmarks warped into eerie facades, and the faces of passers-by became ghostly apparitions. The clock's influence began to stretch beyond my home. I noticed strange occurrences in public places. A cafe I frequented seemed to exist in an eternal twilight, with patrons who spoke in cryptic riddles. A park I once found peaceful now echoed with haunting whispers and shadowy figures lurking just out of sight. As days turned into weeks, the clock's effect intensified. My own life became a disorienting cycle of events happening out of order. I found myself reliving moments of joy and despair, but with added layers of dread and foreboding. The more I tried to escape this temporal chaos, the more I became ensnared. One evening, as I watched the clock's hands spin in reverse, a horrifying realization dawned on me. The clock wasn't merely manipulating time, it was drawing me into a parallel dimension where the boundaries between reality and nightmare were blurred. The more I interacted with the clock, the more I became a part of its sinister world. Desperation drove me to seek answers. I researched old texts and consulted experts in the occult, but no one could provide a solution. The clock remained an enigma, its power growing stronger as I continued to defy the normal passage of time. In the end, I realized there was no escaping the consequences of my choice. The clock had entwined itself with my existence, and I was forever bound to its eerie, backward realm. My reality had become a twisted reflection of what it once was, and I was left to navigate a world where time itself was my greatest tormentor. As I continued to dwell within this nightmarish realm, dictated by the cursed clock, my reality became increasingly fragmented. Days, nights, and the very concept of time blended into a surreal tapestry of shifting moments. I was trapped in a loop where every attempt to alter my course only led me deeper into the clock's sinister grasp. Desperate to reclaim some semblance of control, I resolved to confront the source of the clock's power. I delved into the mysteries of the clock, hoping to find a clue that would reveal its origin and, perhaps, a way to break free from its malevolent influence. My search led me to an ancient manuscript I found in a forgotten corner of an old library. It detailed a ritual designed to nullify the power of cursed objects. With renewed hope, I set about gathering the necessary components: rare herbs, candles, and an incantation written in a language I barely understood. On the night of the ritual, I prepared the room meticulously, ensuring that every detail matched the description from the manuscript. As I recited the incantation, the air around me grew thick with a palpable sense of foreboding. The clock, which had been ticking backward relentlessly, began to emit a low, eerie hum. Suddenly, the clock's hands spun violently in both directions, and the room was engulfed in a blinding flash. When the light subsided, I found myself alone in a familiar sitting room, scene unchanged, but the clock had stopped moving. The oppressive weight of the cursed influence had lifted, but the damage was done. Although the clock was no longer active, its legacy lingered in my mind. The experience had left an indelible mark on my psyche. I realized that the true horror wasn't just the time manipulation, but the way it had distorted my perception of reality. The once familiar world was now tainted with the shadows of my ordeal. I decided to keep the clock as a grim reminder of what I had endured. It remains a silent testament to the dangers of meddling with forces beyond our understanding. I've come to accept that the clock's curse was more than a physical affliction. It was a profound transformation of how I perceive time and existence. Every so often, I catch myself glancing at the clock, now frowning at a random time. It serves as a reminder of the fragility of reality and the thin veil that separates our world from the unknown. Though the clock no longer moves, the memory of those reversed hours continues to haunt me, a stark reminder of the thin boundary between reality and nightmare.